Hey, welcome to From the Hip. It's a podcast ministry of First Baptist Church of Concord. I'm Jim Collier, your host, and I am so glad that you're here. We talk about faith, practice, and everything shiny right here. We follow our gut, we laugh, and hopefully you'll come along with us. So I have here with me today my golfing partner, Alec Lockivitch, and his sweet wife, Dawn, and I am glad that y'all are here.
Yeah, thank you for having us. This is a real nice treat.
We're very excited.
Yeah, you're a production guy, right? So you're usually on the other side of this?
Yeah, it is weird being on the front side of it. I feel sorry for myself.
Yeah, you know what all this is about.
Yeah, I'm such a sucker.
So the reason why I've got Alec here and Dawn is I know a little bit about what they do. I do play golf with Alec. We won't talk about scores.
No.
Or swings.
No, none of that.
I mean, you do hit the ball a long, long way.
Yeah, every once in a while, sure. I'll get a good hit every once in a while. But I remember one time you said that there's no golf in heaven, and I know why.
yeah, that's right. Because we'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Everything would be perfect. We'd all hit holes in one. It'd be like an 18. And
well, I was just gonna say everybody lies and cusses.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. It'd be a lot quieter on the golf course in heaven.
Yeah.
Well, very good. So you're kind of an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What drives you to do that?
Well, my dad, he was always he wasn't always, but since I can remember, he had his own company. And so, I always just kind of admired that about him. And, that entrepreneur, the gene just kind of stuck with me. You know, I've never really had a real job, which is kind of funny and maybe sad, I guess. But yeah, I've been doing it for a long time. I got out of college in 2008 and started my first unsuccessful business. And, it, just kind of grew from there and learned a lot. And it wasn't till 7 years ago when Dawn and I started a marketing agency where things really started to fall into place. But it took a lot of failures to get, I'm not saying I'm at a high place, but to get where I am.
Right. Dawn, what do you do?
So I work with Alec with our digital marketing company, but my background is graphic design and marketing. And then we kind of do design work and digital marketing and ads together.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. I'm excited to explore that a little bit. You, what was your input to the hibachi pit here in town?
Oh, Hibachi Pit. So they're one of our great local clients. When they decided to open the restaurant, I did all of the branding, website, menus, T-shirts, just kind of anything design that they needed. So It's fun to see.
Who decorated the inside? Did you do that?
So no, they actually decorated the inside, but anything that's printed, so like even down to like the restroom signs.
Right.
Those are
cool.
mine.
Yeah, parking signs, restroom signs, yeah.
So when you go in there, you think, this is my handiwork.
Yeah, it's fun. We go and eat, and the kids will get their menus, and I'm like, how they look.
Yeah, that's cool. Very good. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Hey, tell me about so the very first thing I ever knew about you designing anything was the putter. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so the putter is another. Well, I wouldn't say failed completely yet because we just. I feel like some pieces will fall into place and we'll restart that up. But anyway, in 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
So my uncle invented a putter, and one day I was playing golf with my uncle and my grandpa and my dad, and my uncle's like, he's a machinist. And he's a genius with numbers. But he was like, hey, Alec, I invented this putter. And I was like, that's cool. And he's like, can I super glue it to your current putter? And I was like, sure. So he super glued the face that he made to my current putter. And we played 18 holes. And I two-putted every hole. And I usually 5-putt. And one particular hole, I had like a 40-foot putt. And I was like, Eric, I was like, this is insane. I was like, I was out of school. I didn't have anything to do. I was like, let's go together and can I jump in? I was asking him, can I jump in with you? And I'll do, Dawn and I can do the marketing, branding, and I'll figure out how to have it manufactured and everything like that. And so he was like, yeah, let's do it. So it was the uniqueness of it. It has a rounded face, and it allows you to push or pull a putt, which a lot of us do all the time.
Right.
And it'll correct. It'll kind of autocorrect. So when we got it started, a couple years into it, we got featured in What's Hot in Golf and USA Today. We got featured on ESPN as the only putter on the holiday gift guide that year. And then we got featured on the Golf Channel multiple times. But we just kept on having the wrong people put in our path. Mm-hmm. Like the wrong people. The story is it's too long, but the wrong people to put in their path, and it just never took off. And honestly, I don't even know at that point in our life if we could have handled the success that it could have been.
Right.
I think right now I'm kind of prepped. I think we would have the skills needed that if we want to try it again, because we still have a bunch of inventory. No one's copied the idea yet, and so there's a possibility that maybe in the next couple years we could try to hit the market again.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That's a lot of fun. And so one more question about something that I know about you. If I were to talk about, I don't know, something cool, drones or whatever, and all of a sudden I go on Facebook and it shows up, you're responsible for that?
No, I'm not responsible for that technology, but I utilize that technology to make a living.
Right.
So, so basically there are trigger words on your phone. I mean, all your devices are listening. Let's get real. And so it really is, a lot of it is to help market businesses. Marketing is a giant industry. So, yeah, literally, if you want something specific or you want some good deals, just, like if you want the,
You want your husband to shop for some jewelry? Just whisper it in this phone.
Jewelry. Husband shopping for jewelry. It'll pop up. Yeah, it'll definitely pop up. But we utilize that
because diamonds.
Yeah. We utilize it. It helps our marketing efforts. If we're marketing for a restaurant and someone's like, oh, I really want some food, and they're in that area, then our ad will pop up. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Dawn, tell me about how you came to Christ.
So I don't have like an epic come to Christ story. I grew up in this church. I've always loved everyone here, and I just kind of always knew who Jesus was.
Right.
I knew the gospel, and I believed from a young age.
Right.
Alec and I were talking. I was like, I didn't live like I should.
Right.
I would say growing up, a lot of times I would get closer to Christ and then get further away. And then I would say 6 years ago, we both grew in our faith and were baptized together, and kind of had like a wake up call of how we wanted to like live the rest of our lives for Christ, and how we wanted to kind of utilize our talents and push them towards, an effort that would help others to know Christ.
Right.
And so it's I don't have like a big moment per se, but it's just kind of always known and loved Jesus.
Yes, but hold on, I can tell you something. First off, you baptized us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah. But before that, and do you remember I called you? I know you got. So I called you on like a Thursday. And I was like, how soon can we get baptized?
And I said?
You said, we can do it this Sunday. I said, perfect. And but it was funny because I was like we all know, baptizing is not the saving factor. But Dawn, and she said she wasn't going to bring this up because she said she felt stupid. I don't know why, because it's really cool. But she had that Thursday or that Wednesday night, she awoke from a dream with a Bible verse yelling in her head, basically. She woke up, it said something about baptism, and I called you that day.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I said I wasn't going to bring it up today because I told him I didn't look up what the Bible verse was. I have it marked in my Bible.
Right,
I know what it is, but I don't have it memorized.
Crazy, it's crazy.
But
You've been trying to remember what it was.
No, I have it marked.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. So I woke up and it was like someone was yelling this Bible verse in my head. And so I turned on the light and got my Bible. and looked it up, and it basically said, like, you think you're living for Christ, but without baptism, like, what are you doing? It's a super horrible summary of it. But that was the gist. And so I was like, am I really living for Christ? And
Right.
it just kind of resonated, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm an adult. I've known Jesus my whole life. Like, why have I not made this step?
Right.
And so I told Alec about it, and he was like, we're doing this.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, no,
this
it
is
was
important.
It was good. And it's funny because before we both like really got on fire for the Lord, it was like one of those things where it's like you don't talk about, in our house at least, we weren't praying together. We weren't being like, oh, we love Jesus. Like we did, but we said it like to ourselves, our private little prayers. Like it felt like felt awkward or weird, you know?
Right.
It's like, oh, don't talk about politics or religion, you know, something silly like that. And so cool thing is Dawn, this whole time, unbeknownst to me, was she was praying for me. She was like, I need Alec to, you know, step up to the plate. I need Alec to do this and really do a work in, you know, his life. So I didn't know she was praying for me, but yeah, and it's awesome, the power of prayer. But yeah, we kind of converged around the same time, and we both decided, hey, let's, you know, we understood the concept of you know, living for Jesus, and let's do it, you know.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. And it's been fun to watch. I mean, the things that y'all are thinking about in the social media marketplace is just incredible. Which leads me to this question: why don't you tell me about talk? First of all, I'm going to put Alec on hold just for a second.
Okay.
Because if you keep talking, it'll just be like the Alec and Jim show, and we got we need the Rose to speak a little bit, so it's not just thorny out here. You know?
Okay.
All
We'll
right.
let that happen.
So Dawn, why don't you tell me what talk stands for, and how y'all came up with the idea?
Sure. So talk is talk about loving Christ. We actually came up with the idea after one of your sermons. I thought about trying to find it before this podcast, but I didn't. But basically, you preached on using our talents for the Lord. And so we left, and we were kind of like, well, what can we do? And we're like, well, we do digital marketing. And Alec came up with the idea of putting the name of Jesus into the media and it not being about anybody else. So no faces, no voices, nothing, just sharing Jesus and the gospel with people online. And so January 2nd of 2020
That's
is
incredible.
when,
It's been that long.
yeah,
it's
is
wild.
when we launched Talk, and we started with Facebook ads where we put Jesus Christ. I created a design, and we had different versions, colors, some with sound, some without. And basically, it was just a call to know Jesus. And so if they click on it, it goes to a landing page that shares the gospel. And then at the bottom, there's a prayer that they could pray to accept Jesus as their Savior. And then click yes or no if they prayed the prayer. And then there are resources that populate on the next page for them.
Right. That's incredible. Hey, give me some metrics. I know you know some.
Yeah, I know the metrics, but I was also going to say, before we jump ahead to that, is that you helped us with writing the gospel presentation page.
Yeah.
Because we were like, I am out of our realm. I was like, we can't. I was like, these are people's like, this is.
Yeah, this is their life.
This is their
we can't
life.
mess
Like,
this
we
up.
can't just be like, I think it's right.
Yeah, right.
So we had to use our ultimate resource, which is you.
Yeah.
And thank you for always helping us with all that, and also accepting my random texts when I'm like, hey, what does this mean, or what am I supposed to do here? Like, I don't get what's going on. But yeah, metrics so far. So we've, like Dawn said, we've been in. Wow, it's been just a 4-year anniversary now. Wait, 5 years?
5 years.
You do the
Wow,
math.
yeah.
I can't do the math. I can't do basic math. But it's been so we've the gospel has been presented to over 4 million people online. 300,000 people have actually read it, and over 50,000 people have made a profession of faith.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and then we put those people into like a discipleship like program through like automated text. They'll get like follow-ups for weeks to come.
Right.
And also there are some follow-up like resources like church finders and Bible downloads and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, that's so exciting. Just so you know, the gospel is really, really simple, but it demands a decision in our life. And so, if you're watching this, do you have a website? You'll have a website that they could go. They don't have to wait for it to come to them, right? Can they go to a website that'll?
Yeah, they
you
can.
Have you have a landing page?
Yeah, so it's findjesuschrist.net is where we host the gospel.
Yeah, so you can go there. Basically, the gospel is this: God created the world. God created us to know Him and glorify Him. Every one of us, every human ever to live except Jesus, has rebelled against God. We've chosen our own way, and we call that sin. And that sin has brought bad things into our lives, but not just bad things into our lives, but into our eternal destiny. We're broken, and that brokenness is all around us. But God loved us, and He demonstrated that love for us, that He sent the Lord Jesus, the eternal Son of God, came, took on human flesh, became the only one like Him, the God-man, lived a perfect life, died an atoning death in our place, bore our sin debt on Himself at the cross, was buried, and on the third day, the Father, accepting His sacrifice for my sin, for your sin, raised Him from the dead. And so that whoever calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. So we have that option to trust Christ if we hear the gospel and respond. And that's basically the message.
That's the gist, yeah. Yeah. It's been a great experience to, just witness Jesus working. That's a big thing is you don't, like, I'm not doing anything. She's not doing anything. Like, we're not saving. It's just like,
Yeah, right.
the Lord worked through us, use our skills, and hopefully it gets to the people it needs to get to.
So how does that, how does the technology work? I mean, don't code it for me,
Sure.
but how would that arrive in somebody's feed?
So it takes a lot of money, but luckily we have a partner that funds us. They're called Groundwire. They're another organization that does similar stuff, but they go after a younger age demographic from like 18 to 40. And they really hit on people where they're broken. Broken is the key word. Broken is like, I'm all about metrics, data. Broken is like, if you could sum up Gen Z that come to Christ through this method, they're broken.
Right.
So basically, if you're on your phone or your tablet or anything on Facebook or Instagram, you have a chance of our ads popping up on your feed, just like where you're scrolling. And the ad is literally, it says the name Jesus Christ. This is Jesus Christ. And then it has a gospel presentation and then a link to click to learn more. And then it brings you to the website where the actual online gospel presentation is. And from there, you can make a decision to make a profession of faith. And you can have additional resources. And also the cool thing is with our partner too, is they have anybody who goes to the site has access, 24/7 access to live people.
Right.
Trained, vetted counselors and whose goal is to lead you to Christ.
Right.
So you have access to that chat as well.
Man, that's incredible. And I know you're not the only ones doing that.
No.
However, it's just amazing that, 5 or 6 years ago, you heard the word of God preached and it impacted your life. Well, hey, let's do something about it.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, God works through people and also, you got to take action too.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's lots of that. I mean, it amazes me the way that the two of you, work together. Like Myra and I are so similar in our temperament that we could never work together like the two of you do. We could. We do.
Yeah.
We obviously we parented our kids, but but like on projects we don't.
Well, Dawn, how do you think we do that? Because I feel like we got a method.
Yeah, so Alec is the big dreamer. So
Right.
he brings the ideas. And then I feel like I'm the more logical, like, let's see how this can work. And we'll think about it for a couple of days. And I'll be like, well, here's a problem here. And then it'll push back and be like, well, this is how we solve that. And then if there's enough where it seems like doors are opening, then then we kind of moved down that path. But with Talk, from the beginning, our prayer was, God, I want you to be clear and show us like open doors if if we're going in the right direction, and close doors immediately if we're taking something in the wrong direction. And it has 100% been that way.
What is your most memorable Alec dream that you had to say, oh, no way, no, stop, we're not doing that. I can't go any further. We need to do something different. Because I know there's got to be those kind of things.
I mean, there's been a lot of them, but I feel like one that I kind of wanted to push back and I didn't push back on was a race car. So we actually bought a race car.
Right. Who was going to drive it?
No, so it wasn't like that.
So it was like a roller, so no engine, but it's like...
But it was a legitimate race car that we bought. It was Austin Dillon. So it was raced. It won events and everything, and it was like a NASCAR race car that we were going to use for marketing.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a really cool idea. We were going to like sell different panels and wrap it in different businesses.
Right.
And then put it at
park
Concord Mills.
in Concord Mills.
Oh, yeah.
So like your kids would want to go take a picture.
So it's like the fence on a ballpark.
Yes.
And the different people.
But it's interactive. So people will go, every boy that's going past it and girl will be like, oh, let's go look at the race car. Take a picture.
Yeah. And then you've
businesses
got
would be on
the
there.
businesses in the background. It's a great idea.
Still a good idea.
Still a good idea. But
Failed.
Man, you're still pushing, aren't you?
what ended up happening was we put this car in storage and paid a monthly storage fee on it for a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
And
3
we
years.
just sold it this month.
Yeah, we just sold it.
So glad.
Wow.
Yeah, we made a big profit of losing money on
Yeah,
that.
that's good.
This is the negative.
No, but we
Negative.
had it fell through. But yeah, she wanted to
Look at him
push
still
back.
defending it,
She
like-
wanted to push back. It's still a solid idea.
The problem was he got a brother-in-law involved and got him excited, and then it was 2 against 1. It wasn't gonna
Yeah,
happen.
I got it. Oh, man, that's so funny. Wow. I'm glad that y'all live beyond those pushbacks and stuff. That's good. So I don't know which one of you to ask this question, but do you have a QR code in your yard?
Yes, we do. Oh, funny thing is, before Will from church asked me, he goes, what's that QR code sign? And I told him, but before that, he goes, I thought it was like Christmas music or something. I was like, that's an interesting concept.
Yeah, because you also have it on the back of your vehicle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a T-shirt.
Yes.
Right.
Dawn, you can tell about that.
Okay, so this is a new idea, kind of a part of Talk, but it's the QR code gospel initiative. And so what we did was took the landing page that we use for Talk and linked it to a QR code. So basically you scan the QR code and it's going to take you to that landing page with the gospel presentation. And we created t-shirts, car stickers, and yard signs.
Right.
So it's been really cool because the kids will see people walk in front of our house scanning the code from upstairs.
Oh, wow. So they're doing it.
Yeah.
They're hitting
And
it.
Everly will run and be like, someone else just scanned the code. So they get excited.
They're like the
because,
neighbor from Bewitched.
Yeah.
Oh, there they are.
But they get excited because they're like, someone else is going to get to read about Jesus.
Oh, that's good.
So it's good for them to see that and get excited. But the cool concept with the QR code is we didn't put anything else with it. So the idea is you could be standing in the grocery store wearing the shirt and someone's curiosity is piqued and they're like, ooh, what is that? I'm going to scan it. And they're standing there in the grocery store and you might not know it, but they could be reading about Jesus.
Yeah, that's good. And so I know a little bit about this because we've talked about it, but that's a cool intro for somebody to be able to share the gospel.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I sit and it's funny because I pay attention to you, but I also do my best thinking when I'm in church. So I'm like, man, we have so many people on fire for Jesus in this church, specifically this church. And I was like, but I know that it's very, through my own experience, it's very intimidating to share the gospel.
Right.
Because it just is and so, for the last 6-7 months, I was like, what are ways that we can do something to make it easier for Christians that want to share the gospel to share the gospel? Because a lot of times they just think well, I can't do that. I'm not a preacher. I'm not a street preacher. I'm going to say the wrong thing. But, anybody can wear a shirt. Anybody can slap a sticker on the back of their car and put a yard sign on there. And it'll also help them grow because people will be like, "Hey, what is that? Hey, what is that?"
Right,
and
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the first, I know tattoos are all the thing right now in our culture, but years ago, 25 years ago, it was still, not a lot of people had tattoos. And there was a guy that we ran into in Wyoming who was on fire for the Lord, and he had a tattoo of a cross, a big cross on his forearm, and no other tattoos at all. And some of the people in his church were kind of offended because, like I said, this was before the tattoo craze came along, and not a lot of people did. And he said, well, I forgot. I think he worked in the oil fields in Wyoming, but I can't remember. It was something that, whatever it was, where they had to get changed when they got finished with their job. And he said, everybody that works with me would see this tattoo on my arm, and it would lead to a, hey, why you got that cross there or whatever, and it would be a prompt for him to be able to share the gospel. That's very similar to what these T-shirts do.
And even it takes it one step further, because then they don't have to memorize or worry about flubbing the gospel, because it'll be like, well, it's right there, so you can read it. But yeah, I mean, the concept is very similar.
Yeah, I think sometimes we as Christians put so much pressure on ourselves, thinking that, it is super serious. It is super serious. It is life or death. Yeah. However, we think that somehow we can mess this thing up, and yet the Holy Spirit just wants us to be billboards.
Yeah,
and that's the real concept of this, is that you're just pointing the way to Jesus.
Yeah, and yeah. We tried to make it as simple as possible. But yeah, we're excited about it. We did like a soft launch, and we ran some ads online, and we sold some shirts. And so yeah, we're excited to kind of see where that goes.
What do you think that might go? What are some of the future thoughts for that campaign, or future thoughts for the way that you are going to do anything for Christ, using y'all's knowledge of I guess marketing and those kind of things?
I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Like, I feel like we're right on the bubble of some shift in how everything operates with AI and the technology and all these quantum chips that they're putting out. I feel like there will always be marketing.
Right.
But I feel like it's going to shift. So I don't know. Whatever it is, I'm just going to continue further education, and just figure out how, so we can still put the gospel wherever it is,
right,
wherever it needs to be.
We kind of left this from something you asked or you answered earlier, but is all of this also affecting your own business? I mean, obviously you've got this nonprofit here that's Talk, that's going to be that's only for evangelism.
Yeah.
But then doesn't that parallel what y'all do for a living? And so does this, well, let me ask you that. Does it parallel what you do for a living?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, they're both like the same like avenues, but I don't think it would parallel. But you can tell. I mean, like everything we do is, we want it to be, Christ centered or Christ minded, or with Christ in mind.
Sure.
So like even our company name, during COVID, what we do. Because now I'm blanking.
So during COVID, everything, most of our clients were like, hey guys, if we can't be open, we don't need marketing.
Right.
So things got very quiet for us. And so during that time, we were kind of reflecting. We had, Talk was launched, and we were like, okay, what should we be doing now? Like, what can we do for our family? What can we do for our business? How can we use this time in a smart way? So we actually completely redid our company. So before, we just kind of had like a generic name. And then we decided that we wanted to become 323 Marketing, based on Colossians 3:23, which says, whatever you're going to do, please, do it for the Lord.
Right.
And that's an awesome way to recite that, Dawn.
Sorry, I need to.
Hey, it's good, man. I told y'all to be loose. Here we are.
You're lucky I'm even not. Yeah. I'm trying not to be nervous.
That's funny.
By the way, she did remember it was 3:23, and you were like, I forgot. I'm blanking here.
Dude,
so
I blanked.
Great job.
Like 2 seconds earlier. Whatever.
Whatever you're going to do do it for the Lord. That's a better better
That's good.
summary.
Yeah.
So we decided to kind of marry business and our faith. And
Yeah.
so being more open with that, we put print the Bible verse on all of our quotes, proposals, invoices,
Email
everything,
things, yeah.
emails. We have open conversations about our faith with our clients. Our goal in doing that is hopefully to help bring the right clients to us.
Right.
Not that we, wouldn't work with anybody, but it's also nice to kind of have that like same world view
Right.
and goals and just open conversation. And so we kind of took that time to reposition our company that way.
Yeah, because when I say I read a book besides the Bible, it means I watched like a YouTube overview.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So I read a book called Business is Ministry, and that just stuck with me. And I'm like, yeah, there shouldn't be like, you shouldn't have like a professional life and then all these things. Like, whatever you do is your ministry.
Yeah.
You're a janitor, that's your ministry. You're going to talk to people, do the best that you can do at being, anything. And make that your ministry. A lot of times people kind of forget. They're like, well, all I do is accounting, or I was like, you can make that your ministry.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, we rebranded during that time, and it's been awesome. We have a new client that my buddy who referred us to him said he was a non-believer. So I'm just waiting for the time where he like finally sees all the proposals and invoices and just brings up the question, because I'm excited.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, that's an opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's really what the QR code is about, is just for those who are ready to receive, they have access to the gospel message, and or even if they're not ready to receive, but they're super curious about why do they have a QR code on Union Street? What is that?
Yeah.
They selling their house? Maybe we'll buy the house and click, and then it's like, hey, do you know Jesus?
Yeah, it is funny because I was thinking that same thing. I'm like, it could be anything, but it was weird. We talked about it, and we're like, well, let's go with the curiosity,
Yeah.
Because what if it says, what if it said like Jesus saves or Jesus loves you, and then there's someone that's just like didn't get it, and they were like, that's like that Jesus stuff, I'm not dealing with that.
Right.
But what if like that same person like read it and the Spirit moved in them, you know?
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, that's good. I love it. I mean, that and the whole concept of talk, the whole concept of using your business as a ministry is why you're sitting here with me. Now, you're a cool guy. I love talking to you.
Yeah, thank you.
We have lots of fun. Although we don't get to talk as much on the golf course as we'd like, because your dad's like, are we here to golf or play or talk?
Yeah, let's not talk on the green or in his backswing. Right. And the funny thing is, the day that we did not play with him, you had brought your Christmas gift and you were bumping the music. And I was like, I don't know how Dad would feel about music going on. I enjoyed it. I thought it was nice.
I like it too, man.
Yeah.
In fact, we got that for my son as well at Christmas, and it's just lots of fun. I mean, listen to music out there and then hit the button and it tells you how far you are from the green and all that stuff. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. So talk to me a little bit about the nonprofit side of talk. What does it mean now that you have gone through this project and incorporated, I guess, yourself?
Yeah. So we are set up as a 508, which is it's
Association of Churches.
Yeah, it's our subcategory is Association of Churches. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, and the guy that set it up would be like, "What are you, an idiot?"
Yeah. Or the IRS is like, "He said it wrong. Let's go get him."
Go get him. All right, whatever. If they're gonna come, they're gonna come.
That's right.
Now I'm blanking. Yeah. So it's set up. It's funny we didn't dive into this, but when Dawn was talking about when talk came to be about, we were praying that you open the right doors, God, and everything. And one of the things was we needed to get donations to run the ads.
Right.
Okay.
Because they're expensive.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you can't get donations unless you're a nonprofit, or it's not donations, and then you have to
Right.
pay taxes on them, and they don't get a gift receipt. It's the whole thing. So we were like, how do we do this? But then I looked into becoming a 501c3, and I was like, this is overwhelming. I was like, there's a board, they can't be family members. This is above, like this
Right.
is too much. And then one of my friends who has a 501c3 was like, hey, do a fiscal sponsorship. And that's basically where a 501c3 will let you use all their
mechanisms, their legal mechanisms. Yeah.
And and you run it through them and their accounting and their auditing, whatever. And so I was literally googling fiscal sponsorship. And this group, it's so funny because there's some words I can't say with a Southern accent, like rural or like,
Yeah.
And this one, philanthropy, I always say it wrong, but it's the Players Philanthropy Fund. That's a mouthful. And we came across that, and it was like looking for a fiscal sponsorship. And the guy who runs it, his name is Matt Stowe or Matt Stover.
Over.
He was a
It's been
Super
years.
Bowl kicker.
Yeah. Stover.
Yeah.
Matt
Okay.
Stover. Yeah.
And so
Played for the
Ravens, Yeah.
Baltimore Ravens. Yeah.
So he set up this cool organization for all his NFL friends to run all their charities through. So it was literally like all these celebrities and all these athletes and everything have like their fiscal sponsorships through him. And there was nothing with our type organization. So I was like, whatever, I don't know where to go. So I emailed their organization. The guy did like the typical interview. He was like, I don't know if you're the right fit. And I was like, all right, well, I don't know where to go. So we did that. And then like a few days later, like Matt called us.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, hey, man, he's like, I knew this day would come where it was like, am I going to include a Christian organization in my roster or not? He's like, and I'm a Christian. I prayed on it. And he's like, I want to do it. And he's like, and we're going to waive all the fees forever. And I'm
Oh,
talking
my goodness.
like thousands and thousands of dollars a month that he was like, don't worry about it. And
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So talk about an open door. That
Wow,
was like
man.
a major one where we were like, oh my gosh, this is going to happen.
Yeah, what a blessing.
Yeah.
Before you go any further with that story, I just want to say this. I am so impressed with your, hey, I don't care. All they can tell me is no. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm like the other guy, like, I don't want them to tell me no.
See,
I don't like
that's
to be told.
me. That's what
And you're
I'm
like, just like when we're playing golf, you're like, hey, I paid fees here too. I'm going to go as slow as I want. What are they going to do? Yell at me?
Yeah, what are they gonna do? Yeah, I remember I struggle with worry. But as a kid, I was a big time worrier. And one of the things that my dad would always repeat to me is like, "What are they gonna do? Kill you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess they're not gonna kill me in this situation."
They can kill you, but they can't eat you.
I guess I didn't think about that. I'm glad I didn't know that. But yeah, so we had that. That was one of the doors that opened, and then we developed a relationship with the people at Billy Graham because we didn't have resources after someone makes a profession of faith.
Right.
So Billy Graham has all the resources because they do the same thing. They have their peacewithgod.net.
Right, the call center and all those kind of
but
things.
they're doing more of people are searching them out. So their big campaigns are through Google.
So, but you got to back up
What did I miss?
because the way that they found us was because Alec was like, I'm just going to use their resources
Yeah,
because
okay.
we need resources.
Right.
So we started
and I didn't want to
using-
ask for permission.
So we started using their resources. They were free online. And so
Right.
we put them on that second resource page. Well, when we started driving all this traffic, all these people started clicking on those resources.
Right.
And someone at Billy Graham who does their analytics and reporting was like, where are all these clicks coming from that came from findjesuschrist.net? Let's go figure out what that is. And
Oh,
so
that's
someone
awesome.
did some research and they were like, these guys are in our backyard. And so they sent out like a press release within like their department about us and then invited us for a lunch and we got to meet the like
That is
marketing
so
department
incredible.
over there.
The head of all of marketing.
Yeah.
His name's Mark, and he's an awesome guy. But that developed because I'm one of those guys where it's like, let's just go big, And so I was like,
Go big or go home.
Yeah.
go big or just fail. And
That too.
I was like, it's what it is. But I told
Don't
Mark.
underestimate how cool home is.
yeah, that's true. I told Mark, I was like, we're gonna partner together. And he's like, we don't partner with other organizations. I was like, it'll happen. I was like, I'm persistent. And he was like, ah. And that was like the first meeting we had. I was like, I shouldn't have said that. Like, you ever have, you get home and you replay, you're like, I was an idiot for saying things like that. But so every like few months, I'd call him up and I'd be like, hey, you want to meet? Hey, you want to meet? Just want to give you an update. And he's a very nice guy, but we'd go up there and we'd have lunch and talk and everything. And one of the meetings, every time I would be like, hey, what about a partnership or something? And he'd always kind of politely ignore the question.
Right.
But I knew.
Look at the time.
Yeah. But he was like, hey, there's another guy. His name is Sean Dunn. He has an organization called Groundwire. He goes, they're not as big as we are. And he was like, but they're doing something kind of similar in your field. He's like, you should hit him up. And so I asked Mark, I said, hey, can we use your name and name drop in, like, so he'll actually answer the email. So in the subject, like Mark said we could do this, or Mark said that we should reach out to you or something. So we got in touch with Sean, and he saw our numbers and he liked it. And so our main thing was we didn't want, with this, we had never wanted to, any money that we raised, everything that we've raised so far always goes directly into the thing, because we weren't operating like a normal 501c3.
Right.
We didn't have expenses yet. Now I feel like the goal would be to have a business organization, do events that we can talk about in a little bit, and like actually have to have like an 80-20 split where 20% goes to the functioning of the organization. But at the time, we were praying for funding the ads. I raised some money on my own. I had like a few asks. I raised like 10 grand to get started. And but I was like, man, we need a lot if we're going to reach people. And so Sean Dunn at Groundwire reached out to us, and after a series of negotiations, he's from Denver. He flew down. We talked and everything. He was like, I'm going to fund your ads. And so
that's awesome.
The ads were funded.
I cannot.
And they've been funded.
Yeah.
Like, been funded. We haven't had to raise any money.
The whole thing is unbelievable in the scope of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking about a guy who is a Super Bowl kicker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I'll waive all the fees.
Yeah.
You got a guy who's got his own thing going. Billy Graham, probably the largest evangelism association in America, maybe the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, all it is y'all just bumping through, doing what you know to do, and the Lord opening doors.
Yeah.
That is such an incredible testimony to faithfulness, but just the desire to say, all right, Lord, you told me to do this. I got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I'm super impressed. And I know y'all aren't about numbers. I get that. I get that. Even though I asked you metrics, because I wanted the folks who watch this to understand we're not talking about, not that there's anything wrong with this, but we're not talking about 3 kids playing Call of Duty that saw your ad. You're talking about 50,000 people that have trusted Christ, or at least acknowledged that they trusted Christ through this.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely huge. Like I'll never see 50,000 people throughout the length of my ministry trust Christ. I mean, not that it's about that, but still, it's just the Lord has used you in an amazing way, and it just boggles my mind that you're just like, yeah, let's go do this. I mean,
yeah, well, and that's where it's funny, but I mean, like when there's certain things, when I pray daily, it's like, let me do your will and use my life how you see fit, Lord.
Yeah.
Like and so I feel like if there's certain things that like we just can't ignore, it's like, do this. And it's like, all right, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens,
That's amazing. That's amazing. So we talked about a little bit about the future. You're going to have to move in your own, since you have started this 508 organization. You're going to have to fund it now because you'll be moving away from Groundwire. Is that or not?
No. The online So I guess we're going to branch out. We're going to do other things.
I see. So the ads are doing what they're
funded.
going to do.
Yeah,
So
the
we're-
ads are on the their
okay, got
train
it, got
going
it.
down the track. We're not going to mess with that.
So
Yeah.
Alec this year was like, I feel like the ads have been successful in kind of doing their thing and they're funded.
Right.
So he was like, I feel like we need to create something to like put our heart into
Next
again.
step.
Next
Yeah.
step, something else. So that's the QR code piece of it.
Right. And what's the next step from that? Because I know what are you hoping to do among churches with this concept?
Well, I would love to. We would love to like pitch it to churches and have like
Like a church would have their own
Yeah.
Landing page.
branded landing page. So
I
instead
spaced
of it,
out again.
That's all right, man.
I was like, what would the church do?
so we would partner with like a church, and so the landing page, instead of just being generic
Yeah.
as it is right now, it could say like presented by
First Baptist
First
Concord.
Baptist
Yeah,
of
right.
Yeah.
Concord, and then on that resources page, instead of it just being here's your Holy Bible app download and some devotions and some church finders, it would be, hey guys, come to First Baptist this
Right.
weekend. Here's
Yeah.
our worship service time, and here's our Sunday school time, and
Yeah.
and
Tell us-
really
Tell us that you saw this.
Yeah.
yes,
Through
and
the
that you might be coming.
through the code, and
Yeah.
we'll look for you and do those kinds of things.
And then the
Yeah.
church can walk with these new believers and disciple them properly.
right. Oh,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
So, that's something we want to reach out to churches this year. That's one of the big things that we want to do. So it's twofold. We want to get people in their congregation actively sharing the gospel, and then we want to drive, I say in marketing terms, we want to drive traffic to the actual church. We want to get people there and help grow their church.
Right.
So that invitation to people that make a response through the gospel presentation will in turn drive people to actually physically come to their church.
Right. That's incredible. That's a great strategy. And it's also, you can also teach those churches how to use how to use it in their evangelism ministry or plans.
Yeah, and that's something that we had discussed, and I feel like that's something that we would definitely, another thing that we would lean on you with, helping us, do that.
Right.
You know?
Well, so ever since you've known me, you've known I've been wanting to write. Like
Yes.
I like to write. I write a lot of sermons. I write a lot of Bible studies, and so it sucks the life out of me writing the great American novel or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would love to. I'm looking forward to being able to produce stuff for you that will also be helpful for the people who are going to be invested in your ministry. They get they get these helps, these Bible studies, these devotions and stuff. So I'm really excited. Like I went home, told Myra, I'm like, I get to write. I get to write.
No, we are super pumped. It's like, I'm gonna blow some smoke. I mean, it's not. Wait, is that a bad thing when you blow smoke? Or I guess I would. Because it's not.
Depends on what kind of smoke. If it smells like the stuff I smell, it's a really bad thing.
Yeah. I was gonna say that we're very excited to work in a better in a higher capacity with you and get involved with you, because like you are you're a superstar.
I don't think. I think the other way around. I'm like, you guys are doing it. And I'm
No, like people say, do you like your church? I was like, yes, I love the people. Like this, we really do have the nicest people.
Absolutely.
Like 100%. This is insane. Like I was like, wow, this is like crazy. This is a total anomaly with how, church
Right.
congregations
Right.
are,
Yeah.
Everyone's super nice. But the main thing is like, we got a pastor, and I was like, he knows how to preach, and he tells it like he is, and he's a man's man, I was like, I want someone who's manly up there, like reading the word. And so, yeah, you could, you're top notch. We watch, oh my goodness, I put my phone on vibrate, and now it's not.
Yeah.
fully
Oh,
on
that's
vibrate.
terrible. We'll,
sorry.
We'll make it sound like a cool sound in post.
Yeah.
Like
It'll be like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You should have turned your phone off. Yeah. No, but yeah, like, and so like being able to like work with you and you know, pick your brain is just tremendous to us.
Well,
like you're such a good resource to be able to have.
The cool thing is I don't have the I don't know. I don't have the confidence, I guess, just to go and shoot the moon like y'all do. And I'm really, that's what I like. I like you're just like, hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do, you know, we'll do a stadium tour, and then, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Speaking of that, you know, like you had a great idea, and I think it would be awesome about all of us putting together some conferences this year.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the goal. Is at least we need to get at least the goal is in my head to try to get 3 done this year. But
Yeah.
you know, it's the first one is when we're going to be working out some kinks. And,
Right, sure.
But you know, I'm luckily, you know, hopefully God puts the right pieces into place, which I feel like He has. And,
Right.
I was already picking my brain of a buddy that does that for a living. He goes around to these arenas and he fills them. And yeah, I'm excited about doing that.
Yeah, that'll be good because it will provide the community with good content, and it will provide them a connection to get involved in evangelism, and it will further your ability to train and to use and to do those kinds of things. Yeah, it's super exciting. And so I guess we shouldn't have a strategy meeting right now, but
No.
it is a lot of fun.
Yeah. But now we said it publicly, so we got to follow through.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's out there now.
It's
Accountability.
out there.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
accountability.
So if you're watching this and the Lord's laid on your heart to give us $50,000 to
Yeah, we will need
to start this thing,
Yeah, we will need
jump right in
sponsors,
and
yeah.
I'll write you a note.
Yeah.
I'll give you a thank you note.
Yeah, we do need sponsors. So if you do, for real, I mean, people will be watching this. If you feel like the Lord's laid it on your heart to help us with this, you know,
Yeah.
any capacity, it doesn't even have to be financial.
Right. And that's it's true, but it was kind of a joke. We don't do this podcast for that. We want you to what I really want you to hear from all of this. Yeah, I'm back. Here I am backpedaling.
Sorry, I wasn't speaking for both of us if I misspoke.
Right? No. You didn't misspeak. But I don't want people to think we're trying to sell them something like this is the
Right here is where the website is. Alex, please edit that.
Yeah, that's right. Call 1-800. No, but we do want you to understand that the whole bottom line for all of this is to get the gospel into mainstream America and even worldwide, but get it into mainstream places that it's not currently being talked about. That's the whole point of talk. Let's talk about loving Christ in places where it's not being talked about.
Yep.
Right.
And you know, we want to see Jesus named in places where He's not named, and so yeah, absolutely, and for squares like me, so y'all are on the tail end of Generation X, maybe the beginning of millennials, right?
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
What are we called?
I think we're millennials.
Yeah,
No,
y'all-
we're not. We're not millennials.
I think you just don't
Alec
like that.
denies
It's
it,
called
but-
like Zen millennial. There's an X. I think.
Yeah,
they
it's called denial.
Yeah.
It's called denial. But y'all are really close to the end of Gen X, and
Yes.
I'm a Gen Xer.
Yeah.
But I am not a native to all of this stuff that you're talking about. So like for me, and especially people older than me, we're like, that's too scary. We can't control it. I don't know what it is, and I'm scared of it. But for y'all, you're just like, hey, this is what we do for a living, and we're comfortable with this. And oh, by the way, what do you say? 5 million people have clicked on it, or
4 million.
it's shown
Yeah.
shown to 4 million
Yeah, we
people,
put it
and
in front of-
300,000 have clicked on
have
it.
read it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're still talking. 1 of 6 who have read it are trusting Christ. I mean, that's nuts. So it's not just about, and again, it's not about numbers and it's not about money, but obviously you got to pay to get it out there.
Yeah.
And anyway, I always get uncomfortable when we talk about money because that's just
Me too.
It's just a hard thing to do, but it fuels the ministry.
It
It
is.
drives what you can do.
Yeah, 100%. Like our business coach is like, because the same thing. Whenever it's like anything to do with Jesus or the gospel or the Bible, money is like the last thing on my mind because
Right.
you're like, I'm not going to profit off this. I don't want to do this. This is
Right.
weird. It feels icky. But then Like you need people like to be like, hey, if you don't have this, it's just an
can't do it.
idea.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
going to help anyone. It's never going to materialize because every organization in the world that we know of that helps people, they're funded.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. In the old days, the whoever was the king was the one that funded the, that's why we have the King James Bible. He funded the guys who sat around and did that. And so, I mean, we don't work like that anymore. So it has to be either through gifts or through selling something, so that there's a value given, so that you can then turn around and take that money, live off of it. Like your kids like to eat, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah, they like to eat, and so you've got to make a living. But this is your calling. I mean, it's the same thing when you talk about so if I didn't get paid to be a pastor, I would still do what I do. I'd still have the same giftedness and all that, but I wouldn't have the time.
No, because you'd have to
Because
make
you
a
have to
living.
I have to go make a living,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be able to concentrate nearly like I do for doing the thing. So, and by the way, that's not a knock on any of our bivocational folks. Those guys are the warriors in the kingdom, and I'm grateful for them because they're serving in places that can't afford
That's true.
to do that. So it's good, but yeah. So money is not icky. I love that. That's the theological term of the day, icky.
Yeah.
But money is not. It's the love of money that is.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's the love of money that's icky. But money is just like a resource, like time and water and everything else that we use to further. I mean, these cameras weren't free.
No.
The electricity driving the lights that are lighting us up isn't free. And so, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and one of the things I used to say when we first started and we saw the power with talk, we're like, whoa, this actually works. Like people are responding like this is crazy. I was like, this is like an evangelism machine that's fueled by money. And I was like, and if we don't have money, we don't have any fuel.
Right,
You
that's
know?
right. It just it peters out, and so anyway, that's really, really cool. Have I missed anything that you came in here just dying to tell us?
I don't know, Dawn. I know you were super pumped. What did you want to say? I'm putting you on the spot right now.
I don't think we've missed anything.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked about each piece.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I really am. I'm not just blowing smoke.
Yeah,
I really.
I totally misused that. By the way.
Yeah, that's all right. That's cool. Your skills are in other places, and I'm glad for it. I'm grateful for it. But I'm not blowing smoke. I really am proud of what you've let the Lord do through you. I'm grateful for your obedience to hear something in a sermon and make a life change or a life decision based on it. That's an incredible blessing for our church and for the world, because you're not the only ones that do that, and I'm grateful for that. There's no greater blessing that a pastor or a preacher could have than to somebody hear a sermon and it changed their life, and so I'm really grateful for that. So I thank y'all for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I've really enjoyed it. And thank y'all for tuning in. This is we wouldn't do this if you didn't tune in and tune in. That's an old Gen X thing, but y'all look us up and stay with us. This is From the Hip. It's a podcast ministry of First Baptist Church Concord. We do this because Jesus loves you, and because Jesus loves you, and we love Jesus, we love you too. So God bless you. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.